Greetings, I'm Wes, and in this video we're going to talk about how you can start entering scores after you've run your event in TrialVault, after you've collected results, and you're ready to enter scores. So to do so, just go ahead and navigate to this Results tab and press Configure Scores. Now there's several options here that you'll want to set up before you start entering scores. I do recommend for under this publishing thing you leave this release scores open or checked or on, because what will happen is as you start completing scores for each class, those results will be published for people to see, and it's just very nice as you complete each class for those to be released immediately. So it won't actually release anything until you've filled out all the scores for each class, but I do recommend you leave that on. And release full scores. That will, for like timed events and agility, it will actually tell people what the time the dog got or the points the dog got next to their rank. So you can choose whether or not you want to show that to attendees or not. And once you're done entering all of your scores and everything, just go ahead and bring this back up. There'll be an option to kind of edit this configuration later and just hit Certify Results. That lets attendees know that these results, you believe they're correct and final, and you've closed out the books. So until you do that, they'll get a message and say these results are not necessarily finalized yet. Now there's this other option here that controls when classes are marked as complete and the results are released for that class. By default, it's when all the ranks have been assigned. So if you set your ranking system to champion and reserve, once you get a champion and reserve dog, the results will be released. If you set it to 1st through 6, you have to get 1st through 6 before that will happen. Or all the dogs or the remaining entries have been marked as DQ or fail or something like that, or scratched. So I do recommend it. You just leave it all ranks assigned. You can also set it to none blank, which is a bit more restrictive. So it requires you to either enter a score or select scratch or fail or disqualify for each entry before it will release all the results. I do recommend you just set it to all ranks assigned though. For barn hunt events in particular, this judges section is important because each entry needs to be assigned a judge that actually completed the scoring, or that that completed the scoring for that particular run. And so you can enter your judges here. So I'll just put in a few. And that will do. And we'll just press save. And it will bring up this list of kind of scores here, your class list, where you can expand classes and look at scores. So we'll notice there's no entries in a lot of these classes, but in this class there's an entry, and Samson hasn't yet been assigned a score, so his rank is unknown, and his position is unknown in racing too. So what you can do here is open your scorebook. You can either open the entire scorebook here or open it for a particular class, and it'll show up down here. It'll open. There's a lot of information on this page, so take a minute and try to understand it. This little bar here gives you kind of just a visual indication of where you are in the class list in this particular section. If there's this little red above it, that means you haven't entered scores. If there's gray, that's no entry. If it's green, you've completed scores for that particular class. So you can navigate there, and over here there's this another navigator to move between sections. So that's your navigation. If you need to change how this class is scored, you can do so here. So this one's scored by position and ranked by 1st through 5th. So you can change these options here. And this is only for barn hunt trials, but you can divide the dogs out by height if you need to, but we won't talk about that here. Then from here you'll get a list of entries. There's only one entry in this class, and I'm just going to assign a position of 1. You can mark this entry as fail, mainly for in racing. I don't think that applies. DQ applies in racing, but for go to ground and some other timed events, you have a pass fail. And you can also scratch this entry if you want to here and assign a judge, because that's important, which is for barn hunt trials, just for accounting purposes. And if you had at the trial, if you got if you got some write-in entries, some day of show entries, you can write those in down here, and they'll show up in the list. So Samson's already entered here, but if you had more dogs in the trial, you could select them from the list and fill out all their scores. And once you're done, you can press save, or you can press save and next, save and previous to move to the next or previous class. So I'm just going to press save. And you'll notice this little bar above here appears green, so we're good to go there. And I'll just move, let's go to ground, still has some classes that don't have scores. So I just navigated to that. And you'll notice in this division, actually the classes are assigned numbers. In racing, I had failed to assign numbers on the class list, so that's why they didn't show up in this little deal here, this navigator. So I'm going to go to 110 because we're missing some scores. And you'll want to enter a time here now because this is go to ground. And so I'm just going to enter, it's in the format you would expect, so minutes, seconds, milliseconds. You can leave off the minutes if there's no minutes. You can leave off the milliseconds if there's no milliseconds. And you can assign a judge and press save. And I think that's only to 3 digits is why, yeah. So the milliseconds only goes to 3 digits, as it is on most stopwatches. So you can, for certain events like agility, you can also enter negative times. That's why this plus shows up here, because it's plus. But you can enter negative times too, and it will handle that. For go to ground, you won't ever do that though, because you can't have a dog with a negative time. So, but in agility, you might have some other events, penalties, or bonuses and things you might subtract from your runtime. So this summarizes the scorebook, I believe. There's a couple more classes here. I'll just enter some times for, so maybe 1 minute, 30 seconds. And you save that. You can go to 118, 1 minute, 28.334 seconds, and we'll save it. Now if you go back to your scorebook here and you expand this class, you'll see we have a rank now. Shavano Creek Sampson is first. He's the only entry in the class though. So this will show up to attendees on your results page. You can figure out where that is pretty easily if you go over here, open your cover page, and just scroll down and hit this results button. And you'll notice this message appears here because you haven't finalized your results yet. And you'll see a bunch of classes with X's because the scores are not yet available. Actually, there's no entries in those classes, but we would rather not let attendees know that because we don't want them to know that before the trial commences, whether or not there's entries in a class or not, in general. And they can expand this and see the scores. They can also see their scores on their home page, I believe. So if they go to My Vault and go to My Awards, they're not showing up right away, probably because the entries aren't finalized. But once you finalize them, they'll show up in here as well for everyone to see. So Bob's Base and Bash. Anyway, let's close that and close that. As I mentioned, once you're ready and you feel like you've entered all your scores and they're good to go, open up your settings again and press Certify Results. You might want to release your full scores and just press Save. And you're good to go, and this will tell you all the status. So I hope that helps with entering scores, and stay tuned for more.